Well, 100 Thieves is back in action today after a match against CLG. I'm joined right now by Aphromoo with coverage presented by OmniSlash. Talk a little bit about that. Okay, here we go. Boring, generic question about you beating your old team. Ready? Go. You got anything?
It was great.
Yeah.
In a hard-fought match. I died 6 times. That wasn't fun. But it's always... Oh, 1 second. Technical difficulties. Hold up. They're coming. They're almost here. 1 second.
Oh, any second. I don't even know if they're going to be in the...
Keep going, guys. Keep going. You're good.
Okay, anyway, back to the answer.
Yeah, usually right before the game starts, a little nervous playing against my old teammates because it feels a little wrong, I guess, or like, I don't know how. Just maybe I miss him. But I had to do it to him with the bar today. Felt bad. But at least they finally got to play against it.
No, I meme a little bit because we have to check that box. You know, you play against CLG, I have to start the interview with that question. No, but let's talk a little bit more about that game, which seemed very confusing and odd, and at times I was scared for the future of North America because strange things were happening in it. I mean, do you feel like it was a pretty standard game? It seemed very strange.
Why was it strange, Travis?
Well, okay, so the kids these days use this term called clown fiesta. And it felt as though both teams were doing a lot of weird things. Would you say that was, maybe I'm wrong, I am not nearly as good at League of Legends as you are. Do you think that was like a well-strategized, articulate, like, you know, Mozart-style masterpiece of a League of Legends game?
So once you get into the mid to late game, you figure out if you can either siege, start a team fight, get a pick, split push, and couldn't siege anymore. We could start a team fight, so most team fights all start from middle because you don't want to start at some random ass place. And when all the objectives are down, middle of the map is most important, so every single team is going to stand there 5-man most likely. We don't have split. And then, what was the other one?
Take an objective, maybe?
No. So we didn't have any of those besides starting a team fight middle. Yeah. And most of the time for any game, if you don't really have win conditions in the other 4, you'll have to get mid control and then see who makes a mistake because you can't do anything else. So at that point, most people will call it a clown fiesta, but it's literally both teams just playing as perfect as they can, waiting for a mistake, and then capitalize on it. So it's either I barred ulti, Sion looks for an engage, Sejuani is literally throwing me 6 times in a row to kill me, right? So stuff like that is where the game is at its like peak of stress levels, or it's like one mistake, it either swings for them or it swings for us.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, it's a fair line of conversation then. So do you feel like this game was actually fine? It's just it looks weird from a viewer perspective because sort of the way that these comps and the game is playing out.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty standard game.
Okay. For 100 Thieves, you guys had a tough week last week, lost yesterday, but you get the win today with CLG. So what's been going on? Why have you guys been struggling sort of in the middle of the season? Because you started off really strong.
I think beginning of the split isn't really telling for most teams on who's going to be good later on in the split. Yeah. And it's all about everyone's on the process of getting better. So who can continue that at a very steady pace without falling apart. Yeah. So for us, at the beginning of the split, it was mostly, you know, hyper carry, tank line, Kog'Maw was meta, and so Cody's really good at that. And once we got to like week 3 and 4, we played FlyQuest and GG's in the same week. I think the meta was changing a little differently. You know how people playing carries top and stuff like that. So we had to figure out what we actually want to do, how we want to do it, what are the most priority picks. And it felt like we were always missing a step most of the time. Still are. You know, it can happen. Otherwise, we just have to go through all the motions, which is, you know, figure out how we want to play. What do you want to do with this champ? How does it fit in our comp? And that requires a lot of talking and then a lot of practice playing that stuff.
How are things going behind the scenes? Because I did an interview with probably, I want to say week 3, where I asked him what it's like coaching the team, and he said, well, you know, the thing is there's so many veterans on the team, oftentimes that have been leaders on their own teams, that you end up in situations where everybody has their own idea of like how to handle a situation, and it's about sort of figuring out what the best solution is and sorting through everyone's opinions. So I could imagine a situation where behind the scenes, like, there's a lot of discussion, like, oh no, this is our problem. Oh no, this is our problem. Or, oh, this is how we should have handled this. So very, very curious how in the past couple of weeks, as you guys have hit that mid-split stumble, how things have been going behind the scenes.
It's always going to be heated arguments when someone thinks something, someone thinks something else. Not a lot for that on our team. I think mostly what it is figuring out the information that we need to figure out the best way to play. So if someone thinks that, they can do this, we look at the situation, someone else had a different plan, but we go with this one, doesn't work. It's a lot of that and figuring out how each member of our team works together. Off of that, takes a little while for most teams, but as long as we keep talking about what we want to do, how we want to do it, what you think we can do, and then in game, I call it like action comms, is like when the situation comes, the person who has the biggest advantage in that scenario should be the guy that calls out the most important thing. So like this past game, Cody and me were moving around from tower to tower. Like we can straight up just siege for free, get every single tower. So we're talking the most and making sure our team can support that. And then once it goes like mid game, let's say we're 1-3-1, mainly on side lanes, what they can and can't do, and work with them from that. So I think we're not used to having a lot of people talk all the time. So it's not chaotic, but it's just important that we have a lot of time to explain our thoughts, figure it out, so we can figure out how to play.
Yeah. Okay, so what's next for 100 Thieves? Is this truly a stumble? Jake's dad, Xmithy's dad, he's like the biggest. And his mom. But he was the one. I just like that he's so passionate about all you guys. Everybody that played with Xmithy is a fan of. But okay, was this split or the last couple of losses just a stumble for the team, and you guys are going to right yourself? Do you think that everything's fine? Walking out of that game, do you feel like you have a lot of confidence for the future of the team?
I had confidence even in our losses. Happens. Yeah. Happens to every team. Liquid just lost today to Golden Guardians as well. Yeah. So happens to every team. And all it is about is improving and stuff like that. But I know we can do it. Yeah. And stumbles will happen. It's a part of growing as a team. We'll come out on top.
Kind of wrapping up the interview with Golden Guardians in the loss, and then winning again today to Team Liquid. I feel like a lot of people have been down on that team. Literally, whenever I post interviews with Golden Guardians members on my YouTube channel, as people are watching right now, the comments are often like, "Get a Korean." So I'm just curious what your assessment is of that team, because they've been taking a lot of heat for kind of going with this North American roster, a lot of people that have been rookies on past teams and all that kind of stuff.
I think Golden Guardians aren't that as bad as everyone say. They did have a 2-8 record. Yeah. But it's all right. They have High as their mid laner, and he's very macro oriented and really good about getting his team in the right spot and stuff like that. So I think they're just the same as any other team, but somebody has to lose, and they're the ones that have the 8 losses. Happens. And I do think they'll probably upset a couple more teams coming down to the second half of the split. And I do think all their players are pretty good, because when they were on their old respective teams, they were pretty good.
Anything you would say to any of the 100 Thieves fans out there?
Thanks.
You can check out the rest of our coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel.
Have you noticed that I'm not the one doing the interviews anymore, and instead you're stuck with Travis? Sucks, right? So, don't subscribe, don't follow, but do drop a mean and nasty comment. By Omnislash.